Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful day so far. Do I got a good one for you today? It's question period. But first, quick little thing. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you could subscribe also, that would be awesome. Now, with no further ado, let's get into it.
Mon appétit patrie. Mr. Speaker, Pascal, a single mother from Hull, wrote in an open letter, I don't think I'll ever be able to buy a house. I'm afraid that my youngest child will never be able to own her own home. I can't change apartments. Rent has gone up so much since I moved in, and the housing costs in my neighborhood have gone up by over 150%. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals and the Conservatives themselves caused this housing crisis. Why do they want people like Pascal to pay the price?
I don't know how the Conservatives caused the housing or helped cause the housing crisis, because back when Harper was in power, houses were easily affordable, and not just affordable housing. Actual bungalows and single family residents were affordable, and you didn't have to go out and bum nowhere, Alberta, where there's nothing around you but some trees, to actually find an affordable single-family home.
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. I'd like to thank my colleague, who is a strong defender of social and affordable housing in Quebec, for his question, but he knows, like me, to what extent the Conservative leader's policy would be damaging for Quebecers. He hasn't stopped attacking Quebec's municipalities. He's called them incompetent when they're in the middle of building 8,000 new affordable housing units. The Conservative leader built 6 homes all the time he was housing minister.
The issue with that is people don't want affordable housing units. Families want single-family houses. That's where they want to raise their kids and start a family. They don't want to do it in condos, and they really don't want to do it in apartment complexes. And yet that's what these affordable housing are. Now, of course, the affordable housing could be for singles, but I don't really know how you would qualify for affordable housing. And those housing units take years to build. It doesn't just take 1 year to build an affordable housing unit. It takes at least 2. And that's if you do it quick.
Member from Edmonton Griesbach.
Another summer has passed and not one single home for Indigenous people have been built. The Liberals promised to deliver an urban, rural, and northern housing strategy. 2 years later, still no funding and still no shovels in the ground. Delay, broken promise after broken promise. That's the Liberal way. Meanwhile, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people continue to live in moldy, overcrowded conditions or on the street. Why do the Liberals keep Indigenous people waiting for the homes they need now?
The Honourable Minister for Indigenous Services.
I am so proud to be part of a government that understands by Indigenous for Indigenous housing, and that's exactly what we're doing, Mr. Speaker, by launching the $4 billion urban, rural, and northern housing strategy. Already $300 million has been dispensed through an organization led by Indigenous leaders, determining how best to use those funds so that First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people have the kinds of housing and supports they need in every city in this country.
It's kind of funny how the NDP just figured out that voting with the Liberals does not create any housing, that they're not particularly very reliable in the governance standpoint. It's no wonder that no houses have been built in 2 years, and they're just passing it off saying, oh yeah, we gave them the money. They can do what they want. Because that's pretty much what she just did. She's like, we gave them money. That's it. It's not our job to make sure that they put it to the right place. And that's kind of the Liberals' MO with all of this housing strategy. They do it the same with the municipalities. They say, oh, we gave $600 million to the municipality of Edmonton for housing. If there's no housing being built, I don't know what happened to money, but we did our job. No accountability on their end whatsoever.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Ago, I asked the government who could be against a motion pointing out that this government's doubled housing costs, tax food, punish work, and unleash crime to give Canadians the chance to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. And she said, Canadians are against all of those things. If that's the case, then why won't she let them decide in a carbon tax election now?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's a little sad that the Leader of the Opposition, having just lost a vote of non-confidence in the government yesterday, is putting forward the exact same motion today. I think it shows his desperation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I don't really think the Conservatives are the ones that are desperate when they're wiping the floor with you month after month after month in the polls. And if election was held today, then there would be, I think right now it says a supermajority for the Conservatives, and the Bloc Québécois would be the leader of the opposition, or the opposition, the opposition party. So I don't think she could really say anything about the Conservative Party and how rich they are. And to be completely honest, the reason why Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives are putting another vote of no confidence in is because they know what Canadians want. They know that Canadians want an election now. We want the Liberals out. And we want the Bloc and the NDP to get out of the way so we can get this incompetent government out of power.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
No, in fact, the motion specifically demonstrates that this government, this NDP Liberal government, has doubled housing costs. I found it interesting that the NDP has now discovered that they doubled housing costs. A second ago, a Montreal MP stood up to point to a young woman, Pascal, who can no longer afford to rent, much less to own, after housing costs have tripled in that city. When I was housing minister, rent was $700 in Montreal, and we built almost 200,000 units. Mr. Speaker, why can't the NDP put their actions where their words are and vote for a carbon tax?
The Honourable
And I don't know if you quite noticed this, but Pierre Poilievre says he built 200,000 units when he was housing minister. But whenever the Liberals address how many affordable housing units he built when housing minister, it was like 3, I think is what they say. So doesn't that mean that we didn't need affordable housing back when Harper and he was housing minister? So isn't that a good thing when we were building 200,000 single family units a year? Except that's not how the Liberals like to spin it. Now, do they? Because they haven't built pretty much any affordable housing, or at least not enough to keep it up with the amount of people they're bringing into Canada.
Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Housing, Infrastructure and Communities.
These slogans are clever, but they are empty, Mr. Speaker. It's empty rhetoric on the other side as always. In fact, he should take a look at the CMHC's report from today that puts a spotlight on Montreal, 106% increase in rental construction. Why is that, Mr. Speaker? Because GST has been waived by this government to ensure greater supply, to incent builders during a difficult time. He has no idea how to incent that sector. He's good at running around the country and insulting mayors, putting a spotlight on the homeless, but coming up with no ideas on that. It's more right-wing populism. They have nothing to say, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
In a carbon tax election, if that's true. Malheureusement,
Unfortunately, the Bloc Québécois is telling Quebecers, wait. If you can't pay your bills, just wait. If you can't buy a home, after 9 years of this Prime Minister, just hang on. If you're afraid of going out on the street because of crime that the Bloc Liberals have unleashed in our streets, in Quebec, a province that is at a breaking point because of immigration, they're just saying, hang on. Quebecers don't need to wait. They don't need to wait, Mr. Speaker. They need to choose a new government based on good common sense. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Mr. Speaker, the priority of our government is to deliver for all Quebecers and all Canadians, Mr. Speaker. That includes daycare spaces, a dental care program, historic housing investments, Mr. Speaker. In the meantime, what are the Conservatives concentrated on? Well, as we saw in the Journal de Montréal this week, Conservative MPs are being paid to go to Florida to sermonize on the importance of banning abortion and teaching creationism. You can't invent that, Mr. Speaker. They should be ashamed.
Now, I can't speak on that, and hopefully, if that's true, that one of the Conservatives did get paid to go down to Florida, we need to look into that. But it's rich how the Liberals are grilling the Conservatives on using I think it's rich that the Liberals are grilling the Conservatives on the way they charge money to the taxpayer when they've, how should I say this? They gave millions of dollars to their buddies and companies that they own in the most recent scandal, the SDTC scandal that's going on in committee right now. And before that, the Arrive scam scandal before that, or the SNC Lavalin scandal before that. And Justin Trudeau has been known to fly around everywhere, fly to like the Bahamas or fly to some random guy's private island and then charge it to the taxpayer. So maybe you shouldn't go tossing stone at glass houses.
Even though members are not recognized on the floor and they shouldn't be speaking on the floor, I always invite them to be very mindful of the accusations that they make to other members. The honourable member from Kenora.
Taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government. People across Northern Ontario are struggling to fill their gas tanks. Young professionals cannot find an affordable place to live, and our communities are less safe. Mr. Speaker, these are all reasons why Canadians deserve a carbon tax election where they can vote for our common sense plan. But the NDP continue to support this government, Mr. Speaker, denying Canadians that opportunity. Why is this Prime Minister so afraid of facing a carbon tax election?
And this is the most perfect thing about setting up another or putting forth another bill or vote of no confidence. Sorry, it's late. But yeah, putting up another vote of no confidence after the Bloc Québécois are grilling the Liberals on not delivering for seniors or not delivering for Quebecers. And now the NDP are acknowledging that nobody can afford a home in their ridings, and they know people that can't afford homes, or that people up north are living in rundown, I barely would call them homes, but rundown apartments, and are waiting on new homes. What they're doing is they're forcing them either to vote a vote of no confidence and actually show that they care about their constituents, or if they vote confidence in the government, then that means they're hypocrites and don't actually care about their constituents not being able to own a home, or living in squalor, or being poor and not being able to afford food. It's brilliant on the Conservatives' side, because, yeah, it points out the hypocrites.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Housing, Infrastructure and Communities.
They want to take away the rebate to Canadians. They'll have to explain that to Canadians, Mr. Speaker. What they'll also have to explain at some point, Mr. Speaker, is that they lost 800,000 affordable homes when they were in office. That minister, former Minister of Housing, who's now the leader of the opposition, went around, had no plan on housing, never mentioned homelessness once, and when it came time to vote in favor of ensuring zoning changes at the local level through federal dollars that would incent that change, he voted against. They all did. They don't care about those young people that the member just mentioned. They never cared. It's more right-wing populism, Mr. Speaker.
See, they just did that again. Those 800 homes that are affordable homes that they quote-unquote lost, they actually sold, because at that point in time, we weren't building affordable housing because nobody wanted affordable housing, because people could afford actual homes. Craziness. It's like the Liberals can't conceive that Canadians used to be able to afford actual houses.
The Honourable Member for Charlebourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Bloc Québécois showed its true colours by putting this Liberal Prime Minister on life support. They voted for a centralizing government that has a terrible record when it comes to public safety. Since 2015 in Quebec, the number of auto thefts has gone up by 185%. Violent firearms offences are up by 146%. Do the government of the Bloc recognize that their policies have created a major public safety problem across the country and specifically in Quebec?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the investments we're making to make our communities safe. In fact, we are moving forward on banning some of the most dangerous weapons, over 1,500 assault-style weapons that are designed to kill. Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives get upset because they're sent here to do the work of the gun lobby instead of keeping Canadians safe, in particular women who are disproportionately affected by gun violence. Mr. Speaker, it's a shame for Conservatives to stand up while voting against these measures.
How did we get on to the topic of crimes against women? I think gun violence affects everybody pretty much equally, so we don't have to go there. And a lot of these weapons that their buyback program considers assault style are I have to use YouTube lingo, are pew-pews that are used for hunting. So they're not... And I don't know any criminals out there who go to the store and buy a registered pew pew for and then commit crimes. I'm pretty sure criminals get illegal pew pews and then use them for their illegal activities like stealing cars in Quebec. So banning these guns won't do anything. And there's a lot of graphs on StatsCan that I'm going to drop here, and you'll be able to see that gun violence was way down during the Harper era. And then, strangely, when Trudeau came into power, it started to increase. I wonder why that is. So this is from StatsCan. Victims of police-reported violent crime and firearm-related violent crime. Canada 2009 to 2021. So we see 2013, it was at its lowest. Then it started to go up kind of mid 2013. So that would have been at the tail end of Harper's government. And then as Trudeau came into power, especially after, let's say, mid 2014, it exploded. See, from 2015, start of 2015 to end of 2015, it just went crazy up, and that's when Trudeau came into power. And it's been going up ever since. So this seems like an interesting... it's not a gun problem, it's a governance problem. Especially since we've had these laws in the past, and you can see that our pew pew crime has gone down. Down. Same with violent crime. So I don't think banning these weapons are going to do anything. I think something else underlying is the problem. And we all know what that is. Anyways, let's get back to the video.
The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Haute-Saint-Charles. Violence with firearms is up by 181%. But it's not hunters, it's street gangs with guns that are coming across the border. The money that's being invested should be at the border, and that's what a Conservative government will do. How can this government explain this weakness, and why are they still attacking hunters? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Heritage. Mr. Speaker, I would invent my colleague to be honest with Quebecers because he knows very well that it's not the weapons of hunters that are being banned. It's assault weapons that are designed for war, Mr. Speaker, and which are being used by street gangs to murder.
Wrong. The bill does include weapons that are used for hunting. So, or some of them.
And my colleagues should know very well that the first victims, they're the main victims of gun violence across Canada and in Quebec are women. So if he's against our assault weapon ban, that's particularly shameful, particularly in Quebec after Polytechnique. The Honourable Member for Shefford.
I still want to say, why is gun crime... why are they making it a woman's issue on the Liberals' end? Are they just trying to show that they're a feminist government? It affects both men and women. So let's leave it at that. It's bad all around. I don't know why they have to take every single thing with that. But that's just who these people are.
Quebecers have told us time and time again they're worried about the cost of living and living conditions for seniors. That's why we presented our ultimatum for October 29th. The Liberals don't have the right to abandon seniors aged 65 to 74 given the rising cost of living. They need to end the two classes of senior citizenship that they've created. They need to stop discriminating against seniors, and they have until October 29th.
I think I'm going to end it here, folks. The rest is a lot of some of these Bloc Quebec laws asking about senior rights, and this video is getting pretty long as it is, and I'm not particularly interested in listening to more of the Bloc Quebecois rhetoric. So let me know in the comments down below if you want to keep on listening to what the Bloc Quebecois thinks, and I'll make another video on the rest of this. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit at least 400 by mid-October. So if you could help me out with that, that would be awesome. And if you want to donate to the channel, I have a Buy Me a Coffee link down below. And all of that goes back to the channel. So that would be awesome as well. Other than that, that's all I got for you. Have a great day.